Hey, brother.
Hey,
How are you, man?
doing good. How are you?
I Oh, you look good too. You look
You,
healthy, man.
you
Oh,
look good too, brother.
I
You look exactly the same.
except gray.
That's all right. I'm great too, brother.
You know what's funny? I was outside all morning with my wife. We pulled the air conditioner out, and you go on YouTube and you're like, oh yeah, pull because it's hard to get handyman to. I've talked. I don't do windows, so anyway, we did all morning. We are doing it. And I'm fucking burning up, and nothing goes the way you know.
Nothing ever.
I'm just like pissed. She's out there caulking and stuff. It's fine. It's like, God damn it. I don't
I
want to
do
be.
that all the time. YouTube is like the greatest resource, by the way,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
but stuff like caulking, they make it look so easy. And
Yeah.
exactly, all the little tools and everything.
Yeah. And
But I
then
usually,
the window just pops in and of course, but I did do YouTube for changing, I'm all sweaty, changing a garbage disposal. So I'm like, I'm not gonna,
okay,
and you're like, damn, I did
yeah.
it.
There are some things that you can do. I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm working on, well, speaking of home projects, we had a power outage last night, which was due to our service panel. So like a circuit, like an actual breaker went bad. So um, hold on one second. My screen just went away. And anyway, I've been dealing with that all day, and then at the same time, we had a torrential rainstorm last night that like brought about um, water everywhere.
In your house? Not,
And well, you know what? We don't typically get water in the house, which is fantastic. This time we did get a little bit of water, and it came in by way of that service panel. It was
on the side of the house.
yeah, on the side of the house. So I don't
So
know,
maybe wind brought it in.
yep, had like an emergency electrician over, and there was stuff that like I'm looking at my wife going like, how much you think I could do myself? She's like, don't even touch that. So I
It's
was gonna take the service panel face off and try and do all that shit by myself, but
No, I
no.
know. Electrical is plumbing is really like an art form. I don't mess,
Yeah.
guys come and they do all, yeah. But it also gets to the point when you're not making money. You're like, wait a minute, I'm going to pay a guy $300 for the afternoon to do this. If I can
Absolutely.
figure out how to do it.
Yeah. One last story, not that this is like we're talking about, but we are dads and we have houses. Um I had a fence post that was like that was part of a gate, like our fence post, our vinyl fence post. And it
Right.
went bad. I couldn't the cheapest price I got was like $1,100.
I know. You're like,
And so I was like, forget it. I'm just gonna take a day. I dug it out myself. I
yep,
pulled it
yep,
out. I repoured the
yep,
cement,
yep.
and
I
it
know.
it ended up okay. I was
I
aching. I
know.
was
I
like,
know.
God damn it, I'm old.
I know. I've done fences with my wife, like when we were like 20 years ago, like 40. Dug, the fence post digger.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you make a line, you get a piece of string to make it
Yeah.
level, and you
Make it
pour the
plumb and everything.
bags of cement from Home Depot, and you're dumping them in, and you do, and your back's killing, and you're like, okay, so I saved, yeah, a couple grand, but it's worth
Yeah.
it. But
No,
sometimes
no, it totally is. It totally is. Well, I give her tons of credit for being out there right now, sanding and caulking
I'm
and
like, I'm like, baby, I got to go do this YouTube thing, man. I got to go do this Zoom interview.
yeah. Yeah, and speaking of interviews, so I've been thinking a lot. This is very very special to me because you and I don't think we've seen each other or really
Oh,
spoken in like 25 years, right?
has it been that long?
Well, probably. I mean, I think in the late
You
90s,
look
you were at
good,
my
man. You
apartment
look
in Jersey.
healthy. You
Thank
look
you, thank you.
healthy. You're
You know
not.
what?
I drink still.
Well, Eric, are you kidding me? Beer is like my mainstay,
Yeah.
and but everything in moderation.
Moderation.
But you know what? I'll attribute it to that, and it's kind of a gift that I'm an older man and I have younger kids. So normally at this stage of life, my kids would have been like in their 30s and 40s. I have kids who are like barely teenagers now. So
Keeps you young, man, running
yeah,
around.
all of I've told other people like all the dads who are like parents of parents of my kids friends are all
Right.
all turning like 40. We're going to 40th birthday party tonight. I'm like, God damn.
And then other thing is, Brian, you go and then you see a couple moms who are 40. You know,
Yeah, I know. You know, yeah. You're like, wait, that's 40? The new 40 looks like they're 60. Sorry to all those moms out there. I know that
no,
there's a
you know
lot of
what?
moms.
A lot of moms look great.
A lot of moms are hot, including our wives.
But it's funny. I've been talking to that guy Charles, and at first, I don't know what it was. Hey Eric, and I'm like, who is this guy? And finally, I'm like, all right, let's talk. We talked for like a half hour, and he's one of those dudes in Texas. He's obsessed with the Giants, and he's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. When you guys went to on November 12th, I'm like, what? Oh,
yeah,
November 12th, 1995, you guys went and recorded at Pachyderm Studio, and then you left on the morning of. I'm like, what? He knows everything. So I'm like, okay, this guy's obsessed. Like, you know what, man? Good for you. He
yeah,
goes, yeah, kind of. And like, he's actually a really sweet guy that you
of
kind of go, you
course.
know what? Anyway,
No,
Charles.
they know all the dates and stuff. And like, I really enjoyed catching up with you, and some of those memories like came back, like Pachyderm Studios. I haven't even thought of that session.
Minneapolis. All I
Minneapolis.
remember
Yeah.
is we were there, and you and I were looking at like we played the night before. We're like wiped out, and it's like, hey guys, we're gonna record, and then we're like, wait, are we getting paid road money for tomorrow? Or are we getting a
Yeah.
recording session? Like, and then you go to Graham, and Graham be like, "Hey, you're not gonna put this on YouTube, are you?"
No, I probably will, but no, it's fine. It's
But
fine.
Grant, no one else. You and I were the ones that were always like,
Yes.
hey, like, wait a minute, right? What's up? Oh, guys,
Yeah,
we're gonna record tomorrow.
I know. They spring something on you. It was like, well, you know what? I mean, probably other acts do worse or do better,
Yeah,
right? But another big one was maybe like the in-store. Remember in-stores?
yeah.
You
Oh,
may not have
then we
been
did
in
the
that
radio
era.
station promos in
Yeah,
the morning.
radio
Yeah, you're
station
right.
promos. But it's not just the Giants. Like I got hit with that like on my first tours, like with the silos or with different people. But it was like, hey, we're just gonna stop at this radio station for 2 hours. And you mind bringing in a snare drum and some brushes? And then
And
you
you were
realize,
gonna
wait,
sleep
I'm
then.
I'm
That's what you
playing
were
a
gonna.
whole exactly. I'm playing a whole other gig. Actors would never put up with that. If we were members of SAG, by the way, are you a
Yeah,
SAG member? You
yeah.
probably are, right?
From the voiceover world, and
Yeah.
voiceover now is no SAG anymore. It's all buyout. It's just like, hey, here's $250.
You
And
know
no
what?
reason. It's all going that way, Brian.
I was just telling somebody because and I had been talking to Graham about this because I took my AFFM pension early.
So did
I don't
I.
know if you get all those notices.
I did too. I'd
Yeah,
taken
yeah,
my
exactly.
because
Because if you look at those notices, you're like, wait a second, I'm either going to get nothing when I'm
remember
67.
emergency. Like what? Emergency. We are in critical.
I know critical status. It's like, wait, do you mean that somebody ran away with all my money? Is that the translation?
Because in the downturn, I actually read it. In the downturn, they lost they were super risky investments.
Yeah, yeah,
And it didn't come back. Everyone else's came back. Pensions,
yeah,
musicians,
yeah.
you're just like,
But it's just like with the musicians always get the shit end of the stick anyway. And but
always.
I was trying to tell a layperson, a pedestrian about SAG. They were like, "Well, you're a member of AFFM. Like that's really good." Because actually, I'm a school teacher, so I've been a member of the New York State
Which is great.
Teachers Yeah,
Which
so
is great.
for over
You get good
20
health care. Good
23
health.
years. Yeah, healthcare and
Yeah.
pension, and so I'm actually a member of two unions. But I was like, I think I was one performance shy of being offered a SAG membership.
Doesn't that
If
suck?
I had done like one more TV show or one more Conan O'Brien or something like that. But
That's how my wife was when she was in New York. She was in SAG. She was never in. She didn't never get enough to right.
yeah, so you're
It's
always at the cusp where you can't get in, but if you're like, damn, if you can get into SAG, that's a great union.
well, what I learned too was with voiceover after the 2 or 3 years of doing it, I was in SAG, and then I was like, wait, what's the SAG pension? Okay, so I went online. It's like you have to do 5 consecutive years of a certain amount. So if you do 2 years in SAG, a year off, a year of SAG, like
Yeah,
if you reach
no,
this, it's got to be five. So by the fourth year, I was like, bet like I didn't want to lose my. I was like, I got, and so I get a SAG pension, but it's not a lot. But at least
Yeah.
But you need to do
Same,
5 years in a row. They don't make it easy, man.
same thing with the AFFM, but I took what I took, and
Me
and I
too.
know other people who've taken theirs as well, but God bless it for
And
what
now
it
you get
is.
the email. Now you get, we are solvent. We are going to have, and
No, I'm just waiting for somebody to run away with my teacher pension, right? Like, when is that going to happen? Because that's like a state pension. It's like billions of dollars, you know? I
billion.
mean, it's like tens of billions, if not
But you're
over
going
a
to get,
hundred million.
and at the end of the day, right, you get Social Security from all the stuff you did before.
Yes.
Teachers don't get
Yes.
Social Security, right? You
No,
get,
I mean, yeah, that's not part of your state pension, but no,
right.
we'll be
Be
set up.
fine.
But thank goodness for teaching. I mean, who would have thought, right? Who would have
Right.
thought that?
My wife had health care for us because I don't have SAG health care anymore because I don't make enough for SAG to get it. You got to make
Right.
a certain amount for a family. So she had health care for 2 years. So now we're going to go back on, because she's not going to teach this year. We're going to go back on the state
Right.
Obama, which whatever. It's not as good as SAG was or teachers,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Now with
isn't it weird?
teachers,
Isn't it weird to be thinking we never like I didn't think about this shit back then. Remember?
no, no. I was just thinking like, hey, I'm going to do another record date, and I'm going to get more work and everything. And now I'm thinking like, my goodness, I thought I was just going to be like working, lugging my drums around
Me too.
everywhere. Like,
Me
you know,
too.
I
I
mean,
thought, yeah. Didn't
that's
you
kind
always
of the curse. Wait, because you would appreciate this. Like I always wanted to be a drummer, and people would sometimes joke, like walking by as I was loading up my car with like my trap case and cymbal bag and stuff, like, hey, you
right?
should have played the flute. And I'd be always like, fuck you, buddy. Fucking flute players don't work. It's like, no, the joke is really on me. I should have played
You
the
should
flute.
have played the flute. Hey man, you know the first year I lived in New York City when I moved there in 90, I remember walking down Bleecker Street or something, seeing Ron Carter
Yeah, with a
putting his
bass,
face
double
in a
bass.
cab in the back of a cab. And I was like,
Oh,
damn, I'm in New
yeah,
York City, man. And that's Ron Carter. And
Ron
he's
Carter, Miles
lugging his,
Davis.
like, that was a real, like, whoa, those,
Yeah,
like, just working.
that's it. I mean, you never really thought of like what you'd be doing in your 60s,
No,
right?
I never thought,
Or I thought for some reason, I guess somewhere in my mind, I thought I'm going to make so much money
yep,
that maybe in my 60s, I'll
yep,
roll it back and
yep.
I'll own a house, I'll have investments, and everything will be, little did I know that I'd have a bunch of kids, and I'd have responsibilities, and
I think because when I talk to people our age who did what we did, I think what we had, which was great, was we were so optimistic and so naive
yeah,
combined.
yeah, yeah,
That's why
yeah.
we did. We did. If we knew what we knew at
Then,
16, what we know
yeah,
now,
yeah.
we would have been like
Never would have gotten into the business.
because
Never.
what I learned over the years was and not knowing how important management was. You look at the great bands that we loved, right? And you go, oh,
Yeah.
well, of course, they're just great because they wrote great songs. Well, no, they wrote great songs, but they also had this management. All of the bands we loved had brutal, like, right?
Yeah.
Like management of a band, like,
That management in terms of business management. I mean, not just like artistic management
yeah,
and
business,
choices,
business.
but like business management. And
Like, would Zeppelin have been Zeppelin without Peter Grant? You know what I mean?
exactly.
I'm
No,
like, no way.
no, no, no. And yeah, you need someone to guide you through those next phases. Like once you get past the music, because
And I didn't
there's
know
so
that.
much beyond that.
When we were the naive thing we had, which kept us going, was all you got to do is just be really good.
I know.
And then you think it's like, no, because you meet people who aren't very good who are doing, I mean, because they know, yeah, they
I
just,
know. You know what? So speaking of that, like I tell people a lot, including my kids, like, um, first of all, about college, because if my kids, I'm pretty sure my kids will be college bound, but if they decide
yep,
not to, I keep telling my son, dude, I mean, plumbing and HVAC,
yep.
if I
You'll
mean,
always work.
if you start in the heating and cooling business, you'll service commercial enterprises, residents.
Yep.
You'll have 5 trucks. You'll have 5 cruiser guys working for you day and night. And so no college, no student debt, no liberal arts
I tell the
degrees.
same
Like,
thing. And And guess what else? You're a small business owner, and guess what else? You write everything off.
You write everything off, and it's those guys like
Make
who are
become
always
millionaires.
telling me like they
They're
have
rogue.
a new boat. Here's my new boat on the Jersey Shore. I just bought a house upstate, a new house. I bought another 4-family house. I'm like, God damn, you guys.
And they're the ones who, also in that business is, hey, I'll give you 20 grand cash to do my AC. You owe
Exactly.
them 25.
Yeah.
No, come on, they do that, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
so
Completely.
I mean,
No, so
it's a great business.
it's a great business, and I feel like maybe I don't
HV,
know. I feel like maybe at my phase, if I had a piece of a lot of the songwriting of the people I worked
background.
with, right?
Yep.
That would at least be something. Those income streams have to be worth something, you know.
And I think the Giants, I mean, I don't know. I know, man. I mean, I'm not seeing much anymore from this shit with Iggy, like little bits. It's like really depressing.
Well, I mean,
'Cause-
yeah, for the first, I got stuff for like 10 years, I think.
and then it just
About 10
trickles. And
years.
now it's like
Yeah, and then it
Spotify.
dribbles.
You go on Spotify and you're like
Yeah.
50,000 listens to this, something you co-wrote. And
Yeah, yeah.
you're like, all right, or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't reach the threshold to actually have a check cut, right? Your $35 check, you've reached the $35 threshold for it to be cut. And you're like, God damn, really $35 for
I,
this?
I oh man,
That's that's why, you know what, I kind of play music recreationally now. I do a couple things, but mostly it's like people are like, hey, we'll be 50-50 songwriter, and I'm like, whatever, it's gonna be $11
it doesn't matter.
anyway,
Do
what
it for
does
fun.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Yeah,
You do it for fun, right?
you just do it for fun.
And
Are you
that
playing in any bands? Like have you played guitar with anybody
I
recently?
did that Bowie thing. I don't know if I told you this. There's this guy out here who puts together a Bowie tribute, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
but why I did it was Carmine Rojas on bass
Yeah,
played on Let's Dance, and
yeah,
he's out here,
right.
and and then Adrian Belew, he got Adrian Belew.
Oh,
I'm like,
great.
I'll play with Adrian Belew for fun.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it was really, we did 20 songs, and it was a benefit, and that was one gig, and it was really fun. But he takes it on the road sometimes, and I'm just not. I don't know, man. So that's the thing about I wanted, and so I talked to Carmine, right? Bro, he grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so he's 71, right? So we're talking, and he's great, super nice. And he was in the Let's Dance band,
Yeah.
Bowie. And he's like, I said, so he goes, yeah, I grew up in New York, man. We used to hang out in the Village in the 60s when I was, and I said, did you ever meet Hendrix? And he goes, oh man, I was walking by Electric Lady with my friend, and Jimmy and Buddy Miles were
Oh, yeah.
standing outside smoking. Like, and he goes, I went up, he's 16. He shook his hand, and Buddy Miles, he goes, Buddy Miles had that thing, and I didn't know this, where you can fall asleep really easy. What is that?
Yeah. Narcolepsy.
Yeah. So he's sitting there, and
Yeah.
the Buddy Miles just like, unless he was smacked out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But he goes, Hendrix is really cool. And so then I'm like we're talking, and I said something like, did you ever see Sly Stone? He goes, I was Sly's roadie.
Oh my God.
He was
Yeah.
Sly's roadie on the East Coast, and he had a separate road crew on the West Coast. And he said that, that outdoor festival, that film, what's his name made? The drummer,
Um,
The Day of Soul, or so that he did. There's a
no.
film that came out. There was a gig in Brooklyn in the '69 with Sly. It's
Was
a
it the only
documentary.
drummer that I know, but would be Andy Newmark,
Yeah,
but
he was amazing, right?
he played with Sly.
Sly. And well, anyway, yeah. Carmine was just like, oh, I was at that gig. He was 16 being Sly's roadie. I'm like, you got to write a book, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the stories on the road with David were like, whoa, like,
Well, he's like, I mean, he's not only legendary, but he's kind of in it for life, right? Wouldn't you say
he's a
that?
life,
Like he's a
super
lifer.
nice guy, super nice, like really sweet. That old New York, like Dennis Davis, that generation of like Hiram
Yes.
Bullock,
Yeah.
Hiram, those guys. And he's a lifer, and he's like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, I'm not. And he goes, oh, I'm doing, like, he goes out and does those corporates, like with Steve Stevens, and they do,
Yeah.
5 songs at court. Like, that's a thing, right?
That would be worth it. Like
Yeah.
those industrials where you play like two, maybe one set, right? Of
For
like
a bunch of rich
hits.
businessmen,
Yes,
transit
exactly.
tech guys.
Exactly. It's great. It's great.
You're,
Love it. Love
you're
it.
playing the music for like Charles Schwab's Christmas party or something, right?
I recently there's a local theater here in Portchester that I saw Todd Rundgren at about 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was great, but
Mm-hmm.
what he didn't do, he did not play any of his hits. Like
Uh,
at least in the amount of time that I was there. I was there for like the first hour of the show. And great band. And then it was only later that I realized it was Prairie Prince on drums. You know that guy?
yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
original drummer for the Tubes.
Yeah.
Great drummer. And forgot the
Wow.
bass player's name. You would know the bass player.
Uh,
Uh
LA
I think
guy
no,
or
new I think he's a New York guy. I'll think of him in a second.
I know I can't remember names, man.
But anyway, great band. And I realized that like how old is Todd Rundgren? Probably like late 70s, maybe even 80.
He
I'm
must
guessing.
be. He was around in late 60s with Nas. He was probably 18 and he was probably
So
born
he
in 18.
he produced like a lot of stuff early on, right?
Yeah, look,
Musically played on a lot of stuff. Bass player's name is look up the bass player too.
let me see Todd Rundgren. That's the best thing about this crap
Oh, I love that.
for
Yeah,
for us is you look up someone and then it goes to
all the time.
okay, Todd Rundgren. Let's see. He was born, he's 76.
Okay.
Um,
His bass player's name is
let me see. Todd Rundgren, bass player. Let me do
yeah.
that. Is he
You're
so he's in New York?
you're gonna know who it is.
Kasim Sultan?
Yeah, Kazim
Oh, I don't
Sultan.
know who that
Yeah.
is. Oh, he's been with him for 40. I 40.
Yeah, like he's been like his right hand man forever, you
You know what
know?
that reminds me of? Is like Elton John's band. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like those
Bernie
guys been working.
Taupin and I'm sorry, Davy Johnston,
Yeah,
right? And
forever.
the drum, yeah, yeah. I love that.
That's rare.
I love that. Yeah.
That's
What
wow.
was that drummer's name? See, I'm getting old. I can't remember these drummers' names.
I know, I know, and everyone's dying, man.
That's
Did you know the
unfortunate.
guys in the? Did you know the Wallflowers at all? I didn't really know them.
Not really, no.
Yeah,
No.
but the guitar player dude, Mike. Um, here I am again, fucking forgetting people's names. But everyone, you
Yeah,
just hear it, like, oh yeah, so and so he died.
I know. It's bad. It's bad. So you did a Bowie gig with Adrian Belew, so that was good.
That was great. He was amazing, and I talked to him a lot because he's super nice. Like I when I met him, I'm like, I saw you with Frank Zappa because in high school I saw Zappa 78, 1978, and
Yeah.
he did Frank Zappa, and then he played with Bowie, which I didn't see, and then I saw him with the Talking Heads in the early '80s, and then I saw King Crimson. So I said, I saw you with, you would with Zappa, and he goes, "What were you in kindergarten?" Like, no, I was like in ninth grade,
I
but
didn't
I
know he
don't
played with Zappa.
for a minute,
Yeah.
not 1978, maybe like,
Wow.
and he came out in a nurse's outfit and he sang a Bob Dylan song in the Zappa band, total.
Crazy.
But that to play with that guy was great, just to do it. And then Carmine was great, but
So it sounds like Carmine, does he sort of like, has he picked up like the Bowie mantle of
I think,
sort of tribute and
yeah, I think he does
so
that.
an homage to,
I think so, possibly. Like, but he's so great. I think he's that guy, like you said.
no, he's,
I can do that. I'll do that. Like, no
yeah,
attitude,
yeah,
no. Like, what am I doing? That I think probably me and you are more. Again, had I been on a record that sold 15 million copies, like Let's
yeah,
Dance or whatever,
yeah.
maybe I'd think different. But I'm more. He was part of something that was mass,
Yes. Yeah.
which
If only, I told you that the first 5 years my wife and I were together, she was telling all her friends I was in the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
when I met my
And
wife
sometimes
in
she'll be like, "What was that band you were in again? Tell everybody what's that band?" I'm like, "Jesus Christ!" And no one's heard of this band
Marble
anyway, except
Giant,
for Oh yeah, young Marble Giants. I remember them.
But my wife, when I met her, she's like, "Who's Iggy Pop?" She didn't know. She's like,
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people probably would do that. Who's Icky? Yet you hear Lust for Life everywhere now in the ShopRite or the every grocery store, Whole
and TV
Foods,
and TV. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, TV, television commercials. Did you play that song with him?
Oh yeah. We
Lust for
play
Life.
every night. I did like 175 gigs with him. I counted once. Like, you look at the tour booklet and
Yeah,
3 years of 60 gigs a year, maybe three, like
yeah.
that's a lot, man.
That is a lot of gigs.
Where you hear the guy every night and then you start hearing their shtick and then his
They're
shtick, how
sick.
he is, and
I know.
you
Come
know,
on, man, shake it up a little bit.
and he would like, but it was so funny how you get, and then you realize it's show business and he's like James Brown or he wants to be
Of
James Brown.
course, of
We all
course.
have in our heads, we all have the people we want to be or sound like, maybe, right?
Completely,
As you're
completely.
doing it, you're like, I'm doing it because I love Jimmy and Hendrix and Page.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
those are,
exactly. Yeah.
and then
Um, I've never I haven't saved any of those tour booklets or anything. And I wish I did. I used to have like a big like
box.
lanyard that had all of the lanyards combined, all the backstage passes and everything, all the laminated passes.
Yep.
And then I don't know what, just like at some point you're just
Is
like,
it
you know what?
moving?
Yeah, you're moving, and then you're just like, this is a whole other part. Like
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
some people are very good at kind of preserving eras of their life. Like they have
Right.
pictures of themselves with so and so or blah, blah. I have none of that. I
But the
don't have
thing is,
like
back then we didn't take pictures. Remember?
no
Hey
no
man, we're in the studio.
pictures.
Like they might be giants now. If you and I were doing that record now in that studio uptown,
We'd
where
be
was it?
taking a selfie right
Oh,
now.
we'd be like, hey, man, and then picture your drums with your thing, the mic, and then you'd be posting it in the studio with it. That's why it's funny. We don't have pictures of any
Yeah,
of that shit.
the caption would read my office for the night. I know it's so fucking annoying when people do that. My office for the night, and you see like the empty theater, right?
Wait. Okay. When we were together with They Might Be Giants, did anyone ever sit in with us? Did anyone ever?
Um,
Did we
well,
ever do?
I think so. Were you on the Hootie phase? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes. Remember we did we did South Fargo.
we did. Yes, I
You and I
remember
were we're
Fargo.
like, oh
Remember,
my God, we're in fucking,
we're in Fargo. Yeah, that was amazing, actually.
and it
And
was cold. Remember,
it was
everyone had their
freezing.
hunting outfits on and orange. We pull in and
Yeah,
guys with deers on their trucks, and we're like,
yeah, I know. So I think, well, Peter Holzapfel played with us a couple nights. Remember
great
that?
guy, great
Yeah,
guy. He was so nice.
yeah.
How's he doing? Did you ever talk to him?
Never, never. Years later, I did his another guy from the DBs, Gene Holder, has a studio here in Hoboken.
Yeah.
And and I think the original DBs are getting back together for some gigs somewhere. That's
Mm.
what I saw. But no, I've never spoken to him since. I know he was doing stuff with
His
different
wife.
bands and his wife, I think. Yeah.
He was
But
cool. I didn't know really him very well. We all would hang out, and he was like real rude to the Americana, and we're like, I was like, how did? Because Hootie was huge,
yeah, yeah.
big, and he got that gig, and I'm like, you and I are like, wait, I want that.
I know.
I
I
want
know.
that. Like, but
Well,
and then you get the bonus. Remember, they gave us like $300 at the end,
the
cash.
Hootie guys? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, I don't remember that, but
we were
or
like,
maybe they didn't give it to me. No,
no,
I'm
they.
I'm 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 sure they did. No, that it
But
was
it was one of
awfully
those
nice
like,
of them.
yeah, very nice guys. And are they still together? I don't even know.
I don't. I think Darius has his own country, career. But the story. Well, getting back to people sitting in with us. So Holzapfel sat in with us, but conversely, do you remember there was? I mean, to their credit, we were the opening band, right? So to Hootie fans,
Yeah,
we were inconsequential, right?
totally.
So like 30 minutes set, we were off. People are getting their drinks,
Remember?
finding their seats,
And
right?
they were like,
And
these
then
are like ice, these are like hockey rinks. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we played like the Blue Jays Stadium in in Toronto. Remember that? I don't know if
do.
you remember that, but
I
like, I
just
was like,
remember it being
wow,
cold because it was a
God damn it.
fall, like November tour or something.
Yes. But to their credit, Hootie, remember the guys asked us to sit in with them in their encore
Oh, that's
almost every night, which was awfully nice of them. It was like very, very gracious. I mean, it was really good intentions. But so I ended up, I don't know about you. Did you end up sitting in with them?
I must have. I must have.
I'm sure you did. I mean, but I think I remember playing because I would play percussion. They had a percussionist.
I remember that.
So I played percussion with Jim, the drummer, like on at least maybe one or two of their encore songs every night. And I think that enraged John and John.
Right. I remember something about
They're
that.
basically like, if you want,
You're on the road with
they
us.
they can
Yeah,
pay your salary.
right. That's right. Because I remember it being like, wait a minute, why is Brian? Yeah. And you know what? That's so anti 60s. Like, think about all the bands back in the
Well,
day where everyone sat in with each other and
it's kind of I mean, I
were
get it
they,
in a way, right? I get it in a way, like if you're so aware of like your brand, like we are, we are you too. We don't sit in with anybody, we don't collaborate. But on the other hand, like there's a certain magnanimous nature, I guess, like that, where
Mm,
like you have to just like shed all of that. If someone's going to ask you to sit in, you got to go, yeah, sure. You
yeah,
sort of got to put on your game face, right?
yeah, and just
And
do it.
like go play a solo and be part of the game.
Yeah. I
But
remember I remember them going like, who else did it though? Just you maybe every night. I don't
I no, I think the horn
not the
players
whole.
sat in.
No, they did. Okay.
I think they did. Yeah, they
And
sat in. I think Graham maybe or maybe not. I'm not
Graham,
sure.
maybe.
Yeah, Graham. But you know
What
the story about Hootie and me and Graham, that when Graham and I toured with the Silos, when we went to North Carolina, our opening band was Hootie and the Blowfish. And back then, the all of the club listings were like in like the Village Voice or like that type of paper in each town. And we were leafing through that paper to look to see, how we were listed. And it said the Silos, and Hootie and the Blowfish was really big lettering, like really bold font under us. They were our opening band. So we were like, who the fuck?
You
Who
know
the
what?
fuck is
That's
Hootie and the
probably
Blowfish?
that goes back to management, probably. Like, think about it
Yeah.
when the manager, okay, making the newspaper, like,
Huge.
who did that?
Yeah.
Think about that. That's
Huge.
the management.
We're like, who the fuck? What a silly name, Hootie and the Blowfish. Who would ever, right?
It what was
So it's
that,
freaking.
1996?
I think I left. I mean, my last date with them was I think New Year's Eve '96,
Because I
or maybe
think,
New Year's Eve night
oh
'97.
wait, here we go. Let's back. Okay. I know what happened with me. My wife was having our first kid in 97.
Yeah,
We were all going to Japan.
yeah,
They were pissed. I remember because Jamie called and I was like, I don't want to, like, it wasn't business class, it was coach. And
yeah,
I was burned out. And I remember going, I don't want to go to Japan with
yeah.
them because I could tell it
Yeah.
was going to be a lot. And so I got out of it and they were pissed. So that's what happened to me. So you were there a little bit longer.
Well, for the record, I mean, I don't think I did that. I went to Japan with them
You-
once, but I think for the record, on that particular tour, I hate to say it, but I'll just be honest. I think our salaries, what their offer was less pay
For Japan?
for Japan. So let's just
Maybe
say
that was all,
hypothetically, let's
maybe
just
it
say
was
that I'm correct, right? But it's like, hey, we're going to continue our tour. We're going to saddle up January 10th. We're all going to go to Japan for 3 weeks, or Japan and Australia. And then, oh, by the way, your salary is going to be reduced by 20%. Was it,
and you're
what are you
flying
supposed to
coach
do? Be like,
and you're flying coach, which is, well, it's brutal.
your 14 hour
And so that's why
or
I didn't do,
longer.
you know what? You're right. I think it was like less money.
Yeah. I think it's less,
How can you get,
which is, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's part of their genius business model, because that's why they're still strong
right, right,
in the
right.
game. And you're putting in a window, and I'm digging out my fence post.
But
How about Hal from
I haven't spoken to him in a long
Hal the
time. He's
big
living out here. He's living out here. He's got 3 kids. He's not touring. I think he's writing stuff for TV commercials, maybe.
yeah.
I think. Yeah,
So I
I'm
think
not in touch
writing
with
what's
a lot
that?
of. I'm not
I
really
think
in.
I think writing is probably the only way to go for an older person such
Yeah,
as ourselves, but
to make
also
money.
I think I did the same to Eric. I think I pretty much did the same thing. It's not that I disconnected. Actually, I know exactly what happened. When I became a teacher, I
Mm.
immediately started subbing on Broadway.
Yeah, that's awesome. You
And
did
I
that.
played shows for 23 years. Like sometimes 4 different shows during a cycle,
I
you
would.
know,
That's the
and
best.
it was great.
That's almost like when I did voiceover in SAG, reading stuff all day. Oh, I'm gonna go have my dinner. Come back, read more. Like you're not on
Yeah.
the road. You're not traveling.
Well, no, I mean, playing in the pit is great because nobody sees you. You wear a black t-shirt. In summertime, you go in your shorts and flip-flops.
And
You
you
don't even
got
bring a stick.
and you
Local
got
one
healthcare,
doesn't want to move any gear, which of course I don't blame them. So like you have to play the gear that's there, especially for you guys. I think you would have to play the guitarist's guitar.
which is
Like,
yeah,
and
you just
right, so
walk
you would
home.
walk in with nothing.
And then after the gig, you go get a drink, you get health care, you get pension, right?
Amazing, amazing.
So
So
you did how many? 20 years?
I think I did 20 plus years, about 22 years of Broadway,
That
and I just somehow fell into it one after the other. And it started with Rent. And here's the They Might Be Giants tie-in. I met I actually knew the contractor at Rent, Kenny Brescia. I knew him from the 80s.
mm,
Great guy, guitar player. But we bumped into the cast of Rent, I think before your time, when we were
mm.
recording at Clinton. Were you ever
I
at
remember that
Clinton?
studio. I remember
Yeah.
that.
But you could have been there because you were busy enough. You could have been there with somebody else at
I,
Clinton. But but that's where the cast album of Rent was recorded. And they were upstairs recording the cast album, and They Might Be Giants, were downstairs.
okay,
And
okay.
so that's how I connected with the cast of Rent right there. And
That
then a couple
that
years later, they were like, "Hey, do you want to sub for the show?"
I think if I had gotten a gig like that in New York, I wouldn't have left New York. Like if I'd gotten that thing you just, which I look back at. Did I ever tell you that story about Saturday Night Live? Did I tell you that?
No. Oh, no, but you would have been great for that
Well, here's a
band.
story that you might have this. So it was 95 and I was in New York. We were recording and
Hmm.
my friend Sherman Foote, who ran that music studio,
Yeah, I remember
Foot
them.
Music. He's like, Eric, this is 95. He goes, who's the horn guy in the
Oh,
Saturday Night Live?
Lenny Pickett.
Lenny
Yeah.
Pick. Okay. So he goes, Eric, listen, man, they need a guitar player. You'd be great. All you got to do is show up. You're on camera, and they're and play. And my reading. I'm a guitar player. Like I can read. If you give me the chart, like give me a few. Okay. Oh wait, what's.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if it's a chord chart, I can read. But
yeah.
I'm not a great sight. So I'm like, Sherman, I'm not a great sight reader. No, no, man, you don't like. So I talked to Lenny I think I talked to Lenny. And it was one of those things where I go, I think I was recording and writing with Matt. We're in the studio. You
I
think
remember that. I remember that phase.
yeah, you're with this on this trajectory where no, everything's no,
Yeah,
man.
I'm gonna be fine. I don't need that.
And so I blew it off, but I also blew it off out of my own insecurity. It wasn't like I blew it. It was partially like, I'm not gonna get that. I'm not the guy. And they're like, no, you don't have to read, man. Just play cool. And you look good and just dress cool. That we need someone who
Yeah.
and I so I was mid 30s or early mid 30s, and I didn't. So I always look back and go, what if I had gotten that gig, stayed in New York, gotten into the groove? Like all of a sudden you're doing,
You would have been doing everything.
I,
Everything,
and I would
right?
have got my reading better, faster. I would have
Yeah.
practiced. But anyway, I
Well,
didn't. You know,
you didn't do it. I mean, to a degree, I get where they're because a lot of people say like, well, I don't do Broadway because I can't read. But essentially, like Broadway is like you are like assuming the role of like the drummer in the
you need to
band.
memorize
So
this.
you're playing by the time I walk in to play a show, I
Yeah,
know it. The music is there, but I know